so inclined, I'd invite you to join us as we pray. God, we give you thanks for your goodness and kindness, and we ask that as we meet tonight, that we would have wisdom and guidance, that we would be able to think and do and act and say in ways that are good and healthy for all of us. And we give you thanks that we have the opportunity to serve this town. In your name we pray.
Thank you. Put that on Do Not Disturb. So I just want to point stuff out really quickly. This is a public hearing. This is a chance for us to hear from the public. So you may have questions, and we may know the answers. We may think we know the answers, or we may not know the answers. So if you have a question, that's fine. My answer to that question will always be, I'll find out, because I don't want to give you wrong information from us. So if you have a question, I'll write down every question you have. I will find out the answer. I'll try to find out the answer, and I will get back to you. If you want to use my email, my card is right up there. Send me some emails. I'm happy to answer any question you have. But really, this is time for us to hear from you. So we'll do that. We will do that, and we'll do that attentively and respectfully. So we'll just get started. First person on my list is Grace Eckert. Come on down. You want to come down here? You can stay there if you want, but I don't want you to be uncomfortable. Steve.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm just really concerned mainly about the development that's potentially going on around Pepper Street, potentially near Aiken. I live at 124 Aiken, and this whole development is like completely wrapped around my house. So while other people are impacted, I feel like I'm like the most directly impacted because this is my backyard. So I'm just very concerned about what's going up there, the safety of my family and my dogs and everything right there, and pretty much the beauty and the peace. And I work in a very high stress job, so the idea of going home and all of a sudden there's people in my backyard, that is very stressful for me because I work 7 days a week in college athletics. So now I'm coming home and I have no peace. So that's kind of what I'm concerned about.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you. Appreciate your time tonight. Ms. Garrett. Come on down.
I live at 614 Pepper Street. And, I posted on Facebook, I don't know if you guys seen it, in Central Community. Mr. Deal was nice enough to comment on it, give us some information. Because all I seen were the signs. And I was like, oh, Lord, no. And I called the number, like it said, and all they could tell me was it was changing from residence, I guess, to MR or something like that. That's all they could tell me. And so he did explain to us that it was going to be, I guess, 55 and older community, about 9 houses. My issue is Pepper Street is the drag strip for Central. These people fly, and I live, if you go down Pepper Street, come from the four-way stop where college goes, go across, I live right there in the dip. If you go that way, I live on the right-hand side. And I have to back out on Pepper Street to get out of my driveway, or either back in. One way or another, I got to back. And you will not believe the number of times that people have literally flying from that stop sign, and goes above the hill or coming up in the hill, swerve, and thankfully there's nobody in the other lane so that they miss me, or so that I miss them. I have been rear-ended there years ago that I was turning with my turn signal on into my driveway, just so happened the police were next door, and they were serving a warrant at the time, so they seen the wreck, and the guy come across the top of that hill running 60 miles an hour. That he just come off of church and got that fast, that quick, and plowed into the back of me. And it was a terrible wreck. But that's my biggest concern. I love our quiet little neighborhood, other than the speeding on my street. And I'm afraid when you company for, and that's for 55 plus out there at Swift.
No, it's not.
Oh, that's what it is. When they first put it there, they said it was for a retirement community. Is that not a retirement community in Galvin? So they changed it, but I just don't feel like that Pepper Street is a big enough street to house that many more people. That's the best way, I guess, to say it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Garrett, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're fine.
Okay. That's
No, I'm glad you told me, because when they first started it, that's what it was told to everybody, was that it was gonna be a retirement community,
It was, and then, they changed their mind,
because they didn't have enough interest.
so.
After they tore all those trees down and the bears don't know where to hide now. But yeah, so they're all on Earl Street. But, that's the, and one other thing, I'll ask a question, maybe you can tell me, because I have asked a couple times, is who do you contact to see about getting speed bumps put on Pepper Street? Who would you contact? Because is it not a county road?
I'll find that out for you.
Yeah, because that dip where I am, the groundhogs have dug so bad it has fallen in, and the cars scrape when they go over it. And so I did call to City Hall one time, and the county came out, but they didn't deem it to be need of repair. But if you sit on my front porch and listen to the cars when they go across it, especially small cars. But I just wondered, I'd like to find out who we could talk to. One or two speed bumps on that road would make a big difference.
Very good. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask her a question?
Please.
Do you feel like if we put a stop sign, a four-way stop at, I don't know what the crossing is there, Pepper?
There is not a Pepper and Aiken, there's not a stop sign between the four ways, just right past Aiken. It's probably, I don't think it's enough of a distance. I know that there's a distance requirement, but the other one is up at Patterson Street, and the school bus now is taking that left turn onto Patterson. I noticed that today, and two cars slammed on brakes because they're coming. You know, you can't really see when you're coming uphill, coming back toward town, up Pepper Street. If you're turning left onto Patterson, you cannot see that car till you get to the top of right at Reynolds at the end of Reynolds Yard. And that school bus was making that left, and two cars, I could hear them because I was outside, and I one of them having to slam on brakes. And as soon as it made its turn, here they come. So, but yeah, it's not. I don't think that from Aiken to where the four ways at College, it's not enough distance for it to be another stop sign there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Bradford, welcome back.
Most of you guys already know who I am, but Joe Bradford, 231 Mill Avenue.
Welcome.
Thank you for your time, all you guys, for your service and everything that you do here. I'm just, I'm getting a little concerned about the different zoning changing from single family to multi or whatever. It seems to be kind of a pattern that's happening. And I understand that the zonings can change and people have the rights to do that stuff, but it is starting, like I said, becoming more of a pattern. I'd like to see it tone down a little bit, especially with more stuff coming up for sale. I like Central, and I want it to grow a little bit, but I don't want it to become a big rush of people, which I know is happening around everywhere, in the upstate. But like some people said, the traffic's already kind of an issue with people speeding down Pepper and things like that. And also, I guess I want to go back to, the zoning changing, what happened up the street on Tarrant, and that zoning getting changed, and what happened around that, I'm not too sure. But, the same type of things happened behind my house where the zoning's gotten changed again, where we thought it was going to stay single family. And, the plans sound fine, but again, I just want you guys to think about, how, and I know you are, so hopefully I'm not coming off as like I'm upset or anything.
You're welcome.
I'd like to just put some more onus on thinking about how that's really going to, affect us potentially in a negative way. It could be a positive way too. I don't want to say I'm the end all be all on that, but, and then also just thinking about, our kids that are in the community, and if we get a lot of going to be considerate of our kids. They don't have a voice, you know, we're the only ones that can kind of speak up for them. So, you know, I know a bunch of you guys probably have kids, but I got two little girls, you know, 6 and a 10-year-old, and they love this little town, and they love the people in it. It's a great community. And so I just want to kind of watch over and make sure that it's still that way when they, you know, become my age. So anyway, again, I thank you guys for everything that you're doing, all the efforts. I know it's not easy. A lot of you guys are just volunteering time. So thank you again, and I'll get out of here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Never have to apologize for sharing with us. That's why we're here. Thank you. So that is the extent of the people in my list that indicated interest in speaking for the public hearing part tonight. I just want to give anybody else an opportunity, maybe you came in late and get to sign a sheet. Anybody here would like to speak about rezoning of these properties? That's on the agenda. Yes. Come on up.
Hi, my name is Kelsey Crooks. I serve the Pickens County Planning Commission, and I came to tonight's meeting because, well, you guys have stirred up some interest in tonight's meeting. But first, I wanted to, I guess, talk to you all about joining the Joint Planning Commission with Pickens County. I know that request has been extended to you guys, and we definitely would love to have some interest in that. And also just voice what everybody else's concern is here tonight about annexation and just being fully transparent about the issues that come along with annexation, creating donut holes, disturbing wildlife, creating more development, changes in ordinances, the county not having standing or a say in annexation. So I hope that you guys speak on all that tonight and be as transparent as possible. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Anybody else speaking about zoning tonight for our public hearing? Okay, there are no votes tonight on zoning. This is just for us to hear from you. So we will take that at another day, August 22nd. So thank you all for coming out and sharing your thoughts. Anybody on council have anything to share? Okay, we are adjourned. And now it's about 7 o'clock, so we will call to order our Town Central regular council meeting for Monday, August 12th, 2024. And I would like for Reverend Moss, if you will provide an invocation for us on this meeting.
Let us pray. Father in heaven, God, we thank you for this day. We just ask for your guidance and your wisdom and knowledge as we go forward. And Lord, we pray that everything we do will be pleasing in thy sight and give us understanding to go forward before the time of central. We thank you and praise you for Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
First item on our agenda tonight is a brief presentation from the Daniel High School Junior ROTC program, and Colonel Haas, come on up.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Sure.
I certainly can forward you anything to bring up on the screen, not required, but pictures say 1,000 words. But if there's anything, I don't know if there's a way to show anything, but
You have like a flash drive or something?
I could, but I don't want to respect out of your time. What do we have?
But if you want to plug in, can we get him plugged into that, or we can try? Okay, we can try. No problem. Yeah. Okay.
And then really the main for us here, the community service engagement opportunities in Central. And we don't have to figure these out today at this meeting, but I just want to get you in front of my face so you can see us, a willing partner, that if there are new avenues that need to be re-energized or new ones out there, that we can get out there and really be the face. Some places where you would want to see some cadets, cadets like Lee Beckner, who's our Corps commander, 115 cadets, this little leadership laboratory that brings basically every cross-section of the high school, puts them in one classroom. And it really is a phenomenal dynamic if you've never seen it before. So again, I won't bore you with a whole lot of slides. I don't have a lot. Again, my main purpose is for you to see me have my number today to think about some ways that we can be involved in what you have going on in your community. But literally, what we're hoping to do post-COVID now is to get our cadets in action. That next slide is to get some kids that typically would not be out, would not be able to travel possibly and do some great things and get them for cadets in action trips throughout South Carolina. These are meant to be school-sponsored field trips. And again, I'll come to the council because you guys may have some ideas. Again, the goal of this program, it's not military recruitment, it's developing citizens of character, point blank. If you, as council members, have some good ideas about how we can get our cadets in places throughout the whole state or locally to develop that, to execute that mission, we want to know. And we're looking to take cadets, Charleston Air Force Base, sure, Washington, D.C., wherever that might be this year, to kind of get them into some spaces that they wouldn't normally get to. Next slide. Again, I won't bore with too many stories, but what you're seeing up here, again, like I said, ROTC still remains one of the fantastic leadership laboratories for each school where kids are competing in competitions. We've already got some things lined up, athletic competitions, I think 5-mile obstacle courses, drill teams where they're teaching precision and attention to detail. You've got archery as a new program. We're just bringing in marksmanship, robotics, UAV. We offer some STEM type programs for the kids as well. But nothing really beats being in the classroom and having seniors, juniors, sophomores teaching freshmen and setting a good example like our commander Lily. Next slide. We have every year a requirement to set 2 community impact goals. This is just an example of what we've done in the past. About an example of 50% of the cadet corps participating in community parades and special teams. Cadet corps averaging a certain number of hours of community service. We want to have an impact in Central, where Daniel is. And therefore, again, I'm extending extending a handshake to say, hey, let's help us find what those most meaningful ones would be for you. sir, you know, if I approach the bench here, I'm gonna,
Please.
give staff these.
Thank you.
For your team. And, really just, it really kind of concludes what I intended to accomplish tonight in less than 10 minutes, so.
Well done. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is a presentation from Doug Baird, a proposed central toy museum. Come on up, gentlemen.
Good evening, y'all. It's funny being on this side addressing you like this. Some of you will remember about 8 years ago, we had a little presentation from my friend Mike Cannon here, and then we took a little tour of a collection that he has at his residence. This was 8 years ago? Yeah. And we visited, we talked about it all, we were trying to find space somewhere within the town, in the town facility, something, and we couldn't find anything. Well, I think life got busy, COVID happened, all that stuff. All of a sudden, I ran into Mike out in the restaurant, and I said, whatever happened with that? Well, here we are, 2024. We're looking at making this a reality, finally. We've gotten together with the local property owner who's going to work with us to make this happen. We plan on a museum dedicated to, and this is part of our mission and our service to the community, celebrating the history, creativity, and cultural impact of toys from around the world. We'll operate as a 501c3 organization with its primary goal to provide an educational, entertaining experience for all ages while promoting the importance of play and mechanical innovation in childhood development. We all know the biggest thing now is everybody knows how to go like this. And they don't do anything with any other toys really. Because the young one maybe, have their Duplo building blocks. We've got Legos opening up in the plaza at Walmart. But as this looks back, Mike's got pedal cars and die-cast vehicles and stamped metal cars 8 years ago, in the 30s. I think your oldest one's in 20, 25. And what we're looking at is featuring all this in an over 4,000 square foot exhibit area with these pedal cars, trucks of all ages, die-cast metal, as well as stamped metal vehicles. That'll be like any kind of museum you go to. We'll have storyboards next to some of the displays. We'll have video setups at some of them where you'll press the button and Mike or myself or somebody, one of the toy makers themselves, because he knows a bunch of them, will give a little information about what it is they're doing and how they do it. Mike was just up in Tennessee a couple weeks ago doing a video interview with one guy who's 94 years old, him and his son, who are still making toys. So it's really something. There's nothing like it in the area. You've got plenty of car museums and car fanatic things, but nothing for toys. We'll have interactive areas. We're looking to get toy manufacturers to give us some stuff for a hands-on children's interactive area. So after they get through 4 or 5 of the displays, one of the parents can take them over and they can play with cars and check it out the way it should be. Down the road, once we get going, like I said, we're just getting organized as a not-for-profit group. I met with a lawyer last week and we started paperwork rolling on that. But we just really want to let the community, let you all know. I've talked to a few of you on the side, so you know what I'm talking about. And it's something we talked about years ago, and really, I think it'll be a fantastic attraction for the town. Right around the corner and backing up to the building we're going to be using is the Railway Museum. Down the street, you've got the Central History Museum, so we've got a whole corridor there we can build
museum to have a display there for that Christmas season. We had it there, had 50-something of my pedal toys there at the Lane House over that Christmas of 2015. They said they had 4 times as many people come through for that exhibit than any they'd ever had. So the mayor and Greg Dietrich, who was the city administrator then, called me back over to Seneca, and there was a grocery store there in town, the neighborhood market, and it had just closed down, 11,000 square feet. And Dan and Greg took me and showed me the building and said, "This is your museum." Started drawing plans for it. Well, the city council met, and they said, "We're going to have to hire somebody to run a museum," not thinking about how many folks that could bring to town on the opposite end of Ramcat Alley. So anyway, that went down the tubes, and I've been having this dream for more than 15 years now. And as we said, I worked with Dr. Voss at SWU and said, "If you can use my toys in any way," and that's when several of you folks came over. And now we do have a building that's close to big enough to hold what we got, but I would just love that opportunity. As Doug said, I was up in Tennessee recently visiting with 2 folks up there, talked with one of the guys there this afternoon, and he's making me 2 more toys that will be local to the area. When I was in college, I worked at Oconee Dairies in Seneca. Senator Marshall Parker owned Oconee Dairies. And I worked as a bookkeeper when I was in college, and as soon as I graduated, I drove an actual milk route. So my buddy in Tennessee is making an Oconee Dairies milk truck for me. So that'll be in the museum. So I would, like I said earlier, I would invite you folks to come anytime that you would like to see them again. And what the plans will be, I would loan these toys to the museum, to the city of, or the town of Central, to the museum. As Doug said, we're going to structure it as a 501c3. But the way I visualize having income from that is there's a basement in this building that we're looking at. And each quarter, I would like to rotate, and I've got a buddy in Anderson who is into Legos like you can't believe. So we could have a Lego exhibit for 1 quarter, rent out tables, and generate income that way. And quilts, I know the side of the building that we're looking at has the quilts on it, and a lot of folks are involved with that. So 1 quarter, let's do quilts. We could just keep it going, and we have a toy show up in Pigeon Forge every May. Folks from all over the country come to that, so I could invite other folks in for toy presentations for 1 quarter. So it's endless what we can do as far as different shows are concerned. So I'll shut up for a minute and let you guys ask any questions.
Mike, how many toys do you think you have?
Well, I know in pedal cars and pedal tractors I've got 160, but when it comes to press steel, there's a company out in California called Smith Miller, and you might go on to eBay and just type in toys and Smith Miller. They started making not toys, but they started making replicas of trucks in 1946. And if you sold trucks, how did you sell them? So they made exact replicas, and you would take those on the road and sell. It became so popular that they started making toys. And in the 1950s, they were hot as a firecracker, and they were made in California. For whatever reason, in the late 60s, they shut down the factory in California. And this guy by the name of Fred Thompson was a collector of Smith Miller toys. Almost 20 years later, he visited that factory. There were still parts of toys on conveyor belts some 20 years later. He bought that facility and started it back up, and he's still making toys today. As a matter of fact, I called him today and left him a message of what I'm doing here in hopes that he can give me some information about Smith Miller that we could have booklets of and so on and so forth. I've got about Lake Minnetonka started making toys up in Mound, Minnesota. And the bad part about that is when China hit, Tonka toys are still made are now made in China, so I don't have any of those in my collection. So
I don't think you can comprehend until you go to see at Mike's house exactly what he has.
Yeah, I would say, think of as many toys as you can, and then add some to it, you're getting close.
that's right. A few books up. If you don't mind, there's one that's got two pedal cars on the front. If you could hold that one up, and those two pedal cars are in my collection. That's a blue Kitty Lac, and not to discriminate, I have a pink Kitty Lac as well. So, you know, we're there. And but back to your question, thousands probably of die-cast and press steel. Press steel and pedal cars are what I would like to really concentrate on putting into this museum because they're the most collectible. And press steel and pedal cars are made out of the same. Pedal cars back in the 1920s were a status symbol, and some of the pedal cars I have at home, you'll see them, they're really too big for children to ride. Like the 1925 Lincoln I have is probably close to 5 feet long. But they were status symbols, so folks would buy them and put them in their home, and people would come in, and that would be a good conversation piece that they had. And then just before World War II, they really started producing them that kids could ride, and during World War II, all of that production was shut down. So any pedal or any toy you got pre-World War II is very collectible because they were asked to turn in so they could melt them down and make fighting equipment. And then after the war, Murray, whom you're all familiar with the name Murray for bicycles and stuff, they bought Steelcraft, which was big. But anyway, I won't bore you with all that. I will just tell you that there's the history of, and I've had presentations at the Anderson County Museum. They just don't have room for all of my toys, but I have a permanent display there now at Anderson County Museum of just a few booths.
Is this the old Helping Hands building that you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
That's where we got the 4,000. We had in a couple restrooms and we're looking at having a small retail center where Mike's got a bunch of toys still in boxes, and they'll help generate revenue. You know, we'll take them to part of the price is going to split it with us, and it'll help generate revenue to keep going and purchase more toys as we go along. I've spoken with a couple different representatives, toy companies, and they're more than willing to help us out with stuff for the kids' play area, Fisher Price, different things. We just figured it'd be a great tourism builder as a destination, you know, like the Railway Museum is for people to come to Central. We're also looking at being open different hours than others, where we'll be open during the week a few days from 5 to 9. You know, not just during the day on the weekends, but have stuff available during the week in the evenings. If schools want to bring kids out and look at it during the day, we'll set something up where we can do that. As y'all know, I'm gainfully retired now, so I got lots of time on my hands. So I got to get into this thing.
And like you were saying, really we want to work with the town of Central. And that's why, you know, you go to most museums and they're open from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. or so. We want to work with the town and help attract people to come to the restaurants. And like you were saying, from 3 or 4 until 9 p.m., say on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And just let the town see that we're there to help them and to participate any way that we can.
Yeah,
and donations enter in for one of the most vital parts of our town, the downtown district, the main area that makes us central. We pay a Main Street director to put ideas into motion for events, but how do you help her get funding for revitalization and retention of businesses? In the middle of two major universities, maybe we should be seeking free or low-cost interns that might need credit for a grant writing project. Maybe students need volunteer hours and could research how other small towns have turned themselves around. Is Central actively working to fill these empty buildings so that small businesses like myself can gain neighbors? Are you talking to other towns to see how they handle high rent owners, warehousing, or empty storefronts? Are there incentives that might spur on building owners to rent or sell at reasonable prices? I'd like to leave you with some numbers to think about. Since I've been on Main Street almost 4 years, 11 businesses in the commercial district have come and gone. Also, another 12 businesses have opened. They're still open, and some of them are rumored to be on shaky ground. The disturbing part for me, though, is the 14 spaces currently empty or warehousing right in the core business district. I agree 100% that concerts, sports, and a few events bring people to our town randomly, but imagine how many people would come to our town regularly if those 14 empty spots were filled right here in our core district. As the rest of this meeting promises again to be about development, annexation, and zoning, I hope you also consider when those new people move into our town, they need something to come to, not 14 empty spaces. Thank you.
That is the end of my public comment list. So we will move along to receipt and dispositions of petitions. Anything tonight, Mr. Administrator?
Not this time, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Reports from council committees, planning, Ms. Bowers.
Planning will not meet on August 20th. That meeting has been moved to August 27th. We also have had a BZA meeting that heard two requests for variances that were approved this past month, and that is all I have.
You still need people for BCA?
We actually have 3 applications, but I was scared to put them on this month because I didn't want to turn them away.
Okay. Fair enough. Anything further? Any questions for planning? Streets and public safety, Mr. Webster.
Central Fire Department has 2 events coming up on August 18th, the Central United Methodist Community Day, as well as August 24th, the Central Recreation Super Saturday. And the police department has received 3 of the 8 grants that have been submitted for a total of $108,000. And the department has seized 235.56 grams of illegal drugs from January 1st to the current day of 2024. And so we just still ahead of the police department as well as our fire department.
Is that an increase? Is that more than normal or?
That's pretty high. It's pretty high.
Okay.
That's all I have to report, man. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. What were those dates again?
August 18th, Central United Methodist Community Day, and August 24th, Central Recreation Super Saturday. And I left out one thing, man, please. 8/29/24 will be our police advisory board. Read it, please fill out, state whatever you need to state to the police department as well as engage in the agreement. Thank you so much, sir.
What was that date again?
8/29, August 29th. Thank you. 6:30 p.m. maybe you've seen on Facebook, we have some new technology. We have an automated painting robot that paints the field down at Bullock Field for football. It's been nicknamed Harry. It was a donation, anonymous donor to the Central Parks and Recreation Department. It's the same robot that paints the fields at Clemson, University of Georgia, University of South Carolina, and will help save a lot of staff time, and it saves a lot of paint. So there are great benefits for us having that technology now in our town. Meet the Central Tigers football players, cheerleaders will be Thursday, August the 15th. That's be 7 o'clock at Bullock Field. We ask that the community come out to this. It's free. Introduce the players, the cheerleaders for the 24 season. They'll set up, have autographs, and the mascot, Claus, which is our Central Tigers mascot that was made possible by DeAndre Duke Hopkins, will be there and for pictures and things as well. So this is sort of their big kickoff event. And then Saturday, as already been said, is August the 24th will be Super Saturday. And the first game, kickoff is at 10 a.m. Admission is $5 for adults, $3 for 6 to 17. Under 6 is free. And Central Fire Department, as Joe said, we cook hamburgers and hot dog plates and homecoming day and things like that to raise funds to offset equipment and help out with the fire department program. So those are some major things that are happening in Parks and Recreation.
Great.
Any questions?
Thanks, sir. Finance and marketing, Mr. Peak, sir.
Okay. Our current fiscal year started July 1st, so the general fund currently has a balance of $850,064, which is a nice start to the fiscal year. Our enterprise fund had the following revenues and balances for July. The water budget had a revenue of $103,955, with a balance in that account of $1,525. The sewer budget had a revenue of $125,550 for July. The balance in that account is $12,162. In the sanitation budget, we had a revenue of $27,436 with a balance of $1,454. That's all I have, sir.
Great. Any questions for finance and marketing? Tourism and economic development, Mr. Griffin, sir.
The First Friday concert series will begin on Friday, September 6th, featuring the Ryan Henry Band from 6 to 8 at the Depot. Following concert will be on October 4th and November 1st. October 4th and 5th is also Swoop Homecoming. We plan to cross promote our concert and their events on Saturday afternoon and evening. We're creating a central business flyer to add to the Swoop students and parents welcome package that we distribute at the end of August. The Central Garden Club has monthly meetings at the trigger terrain registration, and event content details. We're working with Daniel High School to get details for our second annual homecoming parade. And this year's homecoming is October 25th. So we'll finalize dates and information as soon as possible. The faculty requested they have 1 or 2 weeks to start school before they begin making any official plans. And so we'll send over things when we have them. That's all.
Great. Any questions for finance, Mark? Excuse me, tourism, that not about. Okay, moving right along, we have any new business to discuss tonight? Any old business to discuss tonight? Okay, moving right along, introduction and consideration of new ordinances, policy proclamation, and resolutions. The first item is first reading of ordinance 8/12/2024. I didn't see, is that in the packet?
It was right after the, I was just,
Great, so that item is on the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
I move that we adopt on first reading ordinance 8/12/2024 and development regulation amendments. Second.
Motion to table is to adopt on first reading ordinance 8/12/2024, LDR amendments and development regulation amendments. Had an opportunity to talk to Mr. Brooks last week, and he walked me through these. Had a chance to do that, and it was illuminating and helpful for me. Any further discussion or questions?
When we make, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
when we make amendments like this, we can also, continue to make amendments, right? It's not a one and done kind of thing.
This is definitely not a one and done.
Yeah.
So, the idea here is that we're trying to make, as good a document as we can for land development, but it's still a process that we're involved in. Okay, thank you.
That's my understanding as well. Yeah, there were some of the changes that he walked me through were just simply wording changes that wasn't really relevant, or hadn't been done so long, they just, it's kind of redundant, that sort of thing, so, yeah. So, kind of with it, as you point out, it's very much an organic document, and as we grow, we need to keep looking at it. Any other discussion or questions on the LDR? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand, please. That motion carries. Thank you. Next up, a lot of paper tonight. Next up, we have first reading of ordinance 8/12/2024, rezone of property 40740018857. second read ordinance 8/12/2024, annex 406600609227. Is there, do we have a pointer or anything? We can look which one we're talking about. Oh, this is Lock Road.
It's that house right before.
That's right. I remember that. Scanlon House. Thank you. Thank you for jogging my memory. Any other discussion or questions on that piece of property? All those in favor, raise your right hand, please. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, second reading, we're going to talk about parcel 9917 and 0764. Yes. We've got that 99170764.
You skipped 2138.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We're going to talk about second reading ordinance of annexation of the parcel identified as 2138, general commercial.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt on second reading of ordinance 8/12/2024, annex, parcel 407400282138 as general commercial.
Second.
Motion on the table is to adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex the property identified as 2138, last four numbers 2138. Is there any discussion? This is Hammond facility. Any other discussion or questions on that piece of property? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, now we'll go to, we're going to break these up. So 9917 and 0764. These are annex parcels.
I move that we adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, parcel numbers 407500639917, as well as 407500810764.
Second.
Motion on the table is to adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024 and with the parcel identified in the last four digits 9917 and 0764. Those two together. Any discussion?
We have the address for this one.
I think it's the Clayton property.
Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand, please. And that motion carries. Thank you. Next is annexation of parcel 4092 R20. That's the second part of this.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex parcel 407500914092 of R20.
I'll second. Motion on the table is to adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex parcel and identified as 4092 of R20. This is Clayton, 1278 Sims School Road. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand, please. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we have 3102, ending 3102. That is 1467 18 Mile Creek Road.
I move that we adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex 407400282138
I move that we adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex parcel 4074002983880 ag.
Second.
Motion on the table is to adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex parcel 4074002983880 ag. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand, please. Motion carries. All right, so this next item is a batch. So I would just ask everybody to look at your packet. We're going to go from 6857 to 9858, 0397, 1129, 5525, 1203, 7359, 5959, and 5665. Did I miss any of those that's on that agenda? Okay.
I move that we adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex 407400386857, as well as 407400289858, 407400470397, 407400381129, 407400465525, 407400461203, 407400467359, 407400455959, and 407400285665.
I will second that motion. Motion on the table is to adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex parcel with numbers ending 6857, 9858, 0397, 1129, 5525, 1203, 7359, 5959, and 5665. Any discussion? These are all properties around 18 Mile Creek Road, correct? Okay. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand, please. Thank you very much. And the second part of this item on the agenda is parcel 7965.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt on second reading ordinance 0812/2024 to annex parcel 407400457965 to R20.
Second.
Motion on the table is to adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex parcel 407400457965. Any other discussion? This is 1715 18 Mile Creek Road. Any other discussion, comments, questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand, please. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we've got parcel ending with 6105. Is next up, part of this batch.
I move that we adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex parcel number 407400596105.
Second. Motion on the table is to adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex parcel 40740055 other discussion or questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand, please. Motion carries. Thank you. So now we're going to 1096 and 0142.
I'd like to make the motion that we adopt on second reading, ordinance 8/12/2024, annex parcel 407400591096 to ag, and second reading, of ordinance 8/12/2024, annex parcel 407400690142 of ag.
Motion on the table is to adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex parcel 407400591096, and second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex parcel 40740069100142. Any discussion? These are also Arabian Lane, thereabouts. Any other discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand, please. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, we are moving to standalone. This is 9446 in your packets.
I move that we adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex a portion of parcel 406400589446.
Second.
Motion on the table is to adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex portion of parcel 406400589446. This is 720 Old Shirley Road, correct? Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand, please. Motion carries. So we're going to break all three of these up since these are all portions. So we'll start with 0323.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex portion of parcel 406406480323. Second.
Motion on the table is to adopt second reading of ordinance 8/12/2024, annex portion of parcel 406406480323. Any discussion on this? All those in favor, raise your right hand. That motion carries. Now we're at 1493. I make a motion we adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex portion of parcel 406406491493.
Second.
Motion is to adopt second reading of ordinance 8/12/2024, annex portion of parcel 406406491493. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand, please. Thank you. Now we've got 4870. That should be the last of them.
I'd like to make the motion that we adopt on second reading ordinance 8/12/2024, annex portion of parcel 406406394870 ag.
Second.
Motion is to adopt second reading of ordinance 8/12/2024, annex portion of parcel 406406394870. Any discussion on this? All those in favor, raise your right hand, please. That motion carries. Thank you very much. Reports from Administrator Mayor. I have nothing tonight, Mr. Administrator. What do you got?
Just wanted to point out, in the finance report, the $850,000 that's in general fund was a carryover from last budget year from the property taxes and business license we received. So we're getting ready to get into the cold months, which is September through December. So you will see that number shrink to zero over that time period, because we're using this money to cover while we wait for the property taxes to come in next year. Any questions from council or mayor? Okay, thank you.
move pursuant to South Carolina Code of Law, Section